For years now, I have enjoyed collecting little gizmos and gadgets based on classic arcade games that I loved when I was a kid. And beyond just collecting and playing with them, I've gotten an extra level of fun out of reviewing them for you right here on GenXGrownUp. When the product is not so good, I have a little less fun, but when it's one I think you're going to enjoy, I enjoy it all the more. And I think we're both going to have a good time looking at this new GALAGA Pocket Player Pro from My Arcade. I'll show you why right after this. This video brought to you in part by Tommy and the Order of Cosmic Champions. This exciting and heartwarming coming-of-age Gen X novel is available now. Check the link for more info. Hey there, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm John and I am a GenXGrownUp. Thank you so very much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate that you took the time to watch it. And as I said in the preview there, we are looking at this new GALAGA Pocket Player Pro. This is the second product of the Namco arcade line that My Arcade has started putting out here in 2023, just in time for the holidays. I'm sure that's no coincidence. What we learned from the Miss Pac-Man we looked at a few days ago is that gone are the days here of this NES on a chip thing. What we're finding they're doing is in the Pro line, they're actually taking the original arcade ROM, porting it over to new hardware, and giving us what is a surprisingly faithful version of the arcade game. Not perfect, but so much more closely than we got in the line they put out, 3 or 4 years ago. So look, I think, like I said, you're going to enjoy this GALAGA. Let's get over to the table. I'll show you what I mean. Let's go then with this new Pocket Player Pro featuring GALAGA for 2023, this new My Arcade line. Now, you know it has GALAGA. Around back, we see them calling out, of course, the 2.75-inch screen that's now vertically oriented for arcade play. Love that. Same kind of details down here about the how you can power it with batteries or USB-C, but more importantly, officially licensed titles, plural. When we talk about titles, yeah, we know GALAGA's on here, but you may or may not know, it also includes GALAXIAN. So it has GALAGA and its prequel, GALAXIAN, both included, 2 for 1. And you can take a peek at the hardware here. There's that vertical orientation. It has the single fire button and the standard D-pad and player 1, player 2 start. But that is enough box gazing. Let's get this thing open and give it a try. Once inside, we have the typical paraphernalia. We have some instructions that just tell you how to put the batteries in a whole bunch of different languages, so that's going to be garbage. And then we have this flyer. Now, this is actually the flyer from a couple years ago that has all of the old Pocket Player and Micro Player stuff in there. This is outdated, but newer models have included this flyer that shows all the new 2023 stuff, and it's laid out like a checklist, so I'm going to check off my GALAGA Pocket Player as we move on. A quick tour of the hardware, starting here on front. We have the D-pad directional here. Now, of course, GALAGA and GALAXIAN only need a left-right, so the up and down, I expect, are going to be ignored. We found this to be perfectly serviceable. We have a single forward-firing speaker here on the bottom left. We have a player 1, player 2 start, and a single fire button. You'll notice as we go through these new Pro line items, many of these shells are now somewhat customized for what the software requires. Gone are the days of an A and a B button regardless of what's inside of it, as we focus more on getting closer to the genuine arcade experience. Up on top, we have a power on, power off button. We have that variable brightness toggle. We have a home button for resetting the game and the insert credit, because as we're learning, these are now actually custom rewrites of the genuine arcade ROM, and you got to put coins in if you want to play. Then across here we have the volume up and down rocker. Nothing much to see around back. 2 battery doors, 2 AA's go in each one for a total of 4. Each one has a safety screw in addition to a click latch, and there's a little wrist strap to you can put around your wrist to make sure it doesn't fly out of your hands. Now you can power it with batteries, or down here on the bottom there's a plug where you can power it via USB-C if you would prefer, and next to that we have a headphone jack. I think that's all we need to know about the hardware. Let's go ahead and peel off this fake GALAGA screenshot, throw some batteries in the back, and let's power it up and take it for a test drive. While I'm getting these batteries in, let me go ahead and let you know that if you think this GALAGA Pocket Player is for you, check the description for links to this and all of the new products that are brand new from My Arcade this year. And also, if you're a fan of GALAGA in general, I would invite you to check out our merch store over at genxgrownup.com/merch. Sure, you can get a shirt that has a GenXGrownUp logo if you want one, but we also have stuff from Arcade and Atari and Activision, and maybe even some Galaga stuff for you Galaga fans over there. Yeah, I know my colleague George has already clicked because he found out there's Galaga shirts. Look, every purchase you make helps to support GenXGrownUp, and now it looks like the batteries are in, so let's fire this thing on and check it out. Here we go in the arcade again. There's our pocket player, my arcade. All right, and we're greeted with a menu here, Galaga or Galaxian, so we have an option. I can go ahead and show you that variable brightness. The button is right up here. Starts on medium brightness, and you just have a one click, goes to bright, and again goes down to dim, and then up to medium. And I'm just going to leave it on medium, which seems to look fine. Why don't we start with Galaxian? Give it a shot, since it was the predecessor to Galaga. Yep, there's a ROM booting. Again, a little bit accelerated, but even that is there. Okay, I have an insert coin up here. Oh, all right. And player one, start. So we are learning exactly what we're getting out of this new Pro line. These are very definitely, nice loudspeaker by the way, these are very definitely original ROMs but appear to be rewritten for this hardware. Now as a result, there are a few sound effects that behave a little bit differently. If you are a hardcore Galaxian player, I'm sure you will find some other little minor anomalies in there, but by and large, what I'm finding with these units is this invokes for me the feeling of that original arcade game. The D-pad's doing its job just fine. Even though it's only left and right, there's no errant movements. If I go diagonal, I'm still getting left-right, so no worries about getting hooked on the corners, going diagonal, if that in fact is possible. It's not happening here inside the software, so that's great. Oh! I blew up my ship. Now what you will hear during Galaxian, especially through Galaga, and we heard it with Miss Pac-Man 2, is that periodically, especially lower register sounds seem to be mainly affected by this new hardware, audio chipset. But man, it feels like Galaxian, it looks like Galaxian, and but for a few little audio anomalies, sounds like Galaxian 2. Oh. I love this new line. Let's go ahead and finish off this last ship since I have the high score and verify whether or not the pocket player saves high scores. So we know that the micro player Miss Pac-Man didn't. I made a mistake and didn't die. Let's quickly let this guy die and we'll find out. There we go. All right, so I have a 3,400 point high score. I'm just going to hit the home button up here and come back into Galaxian. Now, I do not expect high scores to save. It didn't save on Miss Pac-Man, so I'll either be proven right or pleasantly proven wrong. Booting up. No high score saving, as we found out. So that's a bummer. Maybe the biggest bummer in this new line. When you get this close to these arcade games, the high score is kind of what it's all about, so wouldn't that be nice? Let's pop back over to the menu then and check out Galaga. Here we go. Booting that ROM. Again, somewhat accelerated. You hear that explosion? That's maybe the biggest offender in Galaga that I've found is the explosion sound. Again, low register sounds. So let's put in a coin. Oh, that sounds awesome. Also, I expect you can hear it much better here with this front-firing speaker. It's shooting directly at my camera, so just Galaga coin sound is delightful to me. I put in a couple bucks already. So, all right, let's player one start. Mm-hmm. Like with Miss Pac-Man, once I get into gameplay, I have trouble remembering that there are any differences between this and the absolute unmodified original ROM. Let's go ahead and get captured. That sounds awesome. I want to at least take this through the first challenging stage because, that's a signature of this game. Rapid fire, no trouble. I mean, I'm using my arcade Galaga skills and it's doing exactly what it should. You're gone. Time for challenging stage. Yeah. Let's not embarrass myself and miss one here on the first challenging stage. There we go. Extra man sound. Sounds good. I'm kind of at a loss to talk about what I don't like at this point. You get two games. It's so close to the real arcade. I mean, you hear the differences. You hear the minor modifications, especially to music. I ran this past my colleague George, who is an absolute Galaga devotee. Ooh, got me. I got greedy. And he was like, yeah, I would absolutely buy this. I would absolutely take this on a plane trip or a car ride where I'm not driving to get that fix of Galaga at a budget. I mentioned one of the places where this new hardware kind of struggles is in the low register. So let me get my ship shot. I want you to listen to that explosion. It's the last man. Yeah, kind of pixely, kind of digitally. Yeah, you hear it. So that was just a quick game, 65,000. I expect, again, we're not going to save high scores. Let's check. I'm going to hit reset. Yeah, as expected, no high score preservation. That's really, really too bad. Now, since audio is kind of the biggest sticking point, the big thing that's a little bit off from the original ROM in the case of this, what is a effectively rewritten version of the original arcade ROM, I'm going to plug it into a headphone jack and record the audio straight and give you a sampling of some gameplay so you can really hear what the raw audio sounds like, not going through my camera, but going straight out of that headphone jack. All right, I'm all hooked up here. Let's start with a little Galaxian sound. Let's insert a coin. And again, I'm not going to talk too much over this, just give you a minute or so of clean audio coming right out of the headphone jack. And I'm going to let this ship get killed so you can hear the explosion. All right, let's switch over to Galaga. So as I jump into Galaga, the most jarring sound you're going to hear is the explosion of the ship. That's right part of the ROM boot up, so listen up. Ugh, so weird. All right, going in. Here we go. That explosion. All right, let's head into that challenging stage and see if we can't get it perfect. Got him. And a high score. And an extra man. Alright, I think we have seen what we need to see to make an assessment of this new Galaga Pocket Player Pro. This is not going to take very long. Look, you saw this. We have Galaxian and we have Galaga, both remarkably close to the original arcade game. Once more, I will say, this is not the original ROM. Someone in a previous video said this is basically a brand new homebrew of these games ported to this new hardware, and that's not too far from the truth. We've learned homebrew games can be pretty amazing, and what we're doing here, while not homebrew, I guess it's company brew, but these are great versions of these two games. Aside from the little anomalies, these are slightly modified ROMs, but beyond that, what did we learn? Little D-pad works great. A single fire button, they're custom making the molds for these now. And you've got to insert a credit. You have got to push start. You have got to behave like you are playing the original arcade game. It seems to me that My Arcade is finally figuring out what we want out of these. It's not just that we want a game that looks like Galaga. We want to play Galaga the way we remembered it. And that's what they've delivered here outside of a few anomalies. I didn't mention Galaxian, of course, that's here too. So what about a rating? these are getting increasingly hard to rate because they're well above the offerings they put out a few years ago. Yes, it doesn't save high scores, and yes, it's not the exact GALAGA and GALAXIAN ROM, but we have 2 games here for the price of 1, where the previous one was just a single arcade game in this unit. So I'm gonna rate this Pocket Player Pro GALAGA GALAXIAN combo 4.25 tokens out of 5. If you are a GALAGA fan, or a GALAXIAN fan, or just an arcade fan in general, this is going to bring you much closer to that original arcade game experience than any other budget price product of its type that we have seen on the market in recent memory. Hey, before I leave, I need to make sure to let you know that this product was provided to me by My Arcade for review, but they had zero editorial oversight over what I would tell you about it. Look, I'm gonna throw some links over my shoulders here and here, way more of these products to check out. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video, and I cannot wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.